The Matrix is directed by the Wachowskis, and it stars Keanu Reeves, Carrie-Anne Moss, Lawrence Fishburn, and Hugo Weaving. I decided to do a review of the original Matrix. Well, because Matrix Resurrection is coming out really soon, and I've wanted to do a review on The Matrix for a long time because, well, I adore this film. 1999 was one of the best years for cinema. You had films like Fight Club, Eyes Wide Shut, Toy Story 2, Magnolia, and of course this film. There was a lot of mystery and allure surrounding this film, since the trailers make it out to be the film of the century. These trailers revealed absolutely nothing about this film, but showed enough to, get butts in the seats. And I mean, that absolutely worked. I really enjoy how they're taking a very similar direction to The Matrix Resurrections, since I still have absolutely no idea what that film is going to be about, and I absolutely love that. Over the years, this film has kind of been looked down upon. Maybe this is because of the disappointing sequels or the fact that it's kind of cheesy. In my opinion, no sequel can ruin a great film. And the cheesiness, I really don't mind. In fact, I think a lot of times it adds a layer of humor to this film. And honestly, the more hokey aspects don't really distract me because this film is just so great in my opinion. One of the best things about this film is its pacing. It never drags, and this film is incredibly fast-paced. I mean, it's over 2 hours long, and it really doesn't feel like that. The first act of this film is so intriguing, yet so concise. It should be studied in film school. In under an hour, we are introduced to this world, its characters, and the plot. This is impressive, because I feel like that if a lot of other films were given this task, it would have completely buckled under its own weight, and would have felt horribly bloated. This film builds up a lot of questions in the first act, like what is the Matrix? Who is Morpheus, and what is his deal? These questions are built up in the first act, and then answered in the second act. All this feels so natural, and not forced or tacked on, and not too terribly exposition heavy. When you have a question about the Matrix and how this world operates, Morpheus takes you to the Matrix, rather than just standing in a room and telling you about it. I mean, well, that's kind of what he does. But also at the same time, he doesn't just stand in a blank room and just dumps all this information on you. He actually kind of shows you, takes you to the Matrix, and shows you all of its various quirks, and how the system can be hacked, and how, I guess, the rules can be broken. Also, Lawrence Fishburn as Morpheus is also perfect. He kind of has this monotone way that he carries himself. And I mean, it's easy to consider this performance kind of flat and dull, but for some reason, Lawrence Fishburne makes this really work and make Morpheus seem like a character who is just filled with wisdom. In the second act, when Morpheus freaks out and lunges at Agent Smith, it feels more shocking, because you knew Morpheus throughout this movie as not much of the aggressive type, and very calm and very down to earth. I also heard that he was being recasted in The Matrix Resurrections, and that is just so unfortunate. I can't imagine anyone else playing this role but Lawrence Fishburne. Also, speaking of perfect casting choices, Hugo Weaving as Agent Smith is also perfect. He also has a very monotone way of carrying himself, but there's this sense of threat every time he is on screen. Just the way he carries himself. He always feels like he is in control of the situation even when he is not. I don't know, there's some just type of magic with his performance. Keanu Reeves also gives a breathtaking performance as Neo.
You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking. You're all breathtaking.
Keanu Reeves, of course, performs his own stunts in this film. I mean, being able to see an actor's face in fight scenes is always a treat. I feel like that if Will Smith had accepted the role, because apparently the role was supposed to go to Will Smith, we wouldn't have gotten this luxury. But we know the real reason to why Keanu is able to perform his own stunts. Well, because he isn't afraid of hurting himself, because, well, he's immortal. I mean, here he is in a painting from the 1500s. Maybe the comic series Berserker is just an autobiography about him or something. It's easy to make fun of bullet time and all the bombastic action sequences in this film. I mean, after this movie came out, everybody copied this or parodied it. Honestly, bullet time was just the next trend for action movies in the early 2000s, and it kind of got old rather quickly. But when something is cliche, it usually originates from something that is just so incredibly awesome that everybody just wanted to copy it. And this is a perfect example. The action sequences in this film are just so much fun to watch. There is just something about the sheer creativity of these scenes and the acrobatic feats. Like, I know that these scenes are shot with wires and cables, but that still doesn't take away to just how impressive these scenes look. Like, if you never tried doing the reenacting the scene where Neo dodges the bullets, you would be lying. The main reason why these acrobatic feats and bullet time effects work in this film so well is because there is an in-universe reason why. Our main characters are operating in a computer program, and computers can be hacked, and the rules can be bent or broken. And the film explores this, and honestly, I thought this aspect was really, really intelligent. Even the special effects in this film look great. And the late 90s was kind of a dark age for special effects, because this was when filmmakers really began to experiment with CGI, and the technology just wasn't capable enough to really create the visions that these filmmakers were trying to craft. Though in this film, I don't know. The effects still look great today. I mean, I'd imagine that they mixed practical and CGI, but a lot of these scenes they had to be in CG. They had to use CGI, and honestly, they look great. And I think I'm overusing the word great, but I don't know what other how else to describe it. I'm just kind of gushing about the special effects. Yes, there are some scenes that look a little dated, but it's never distracting like in other 90s movies, like The Phantom Menace or that Mummy movie with CGI Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I think the main reason why this film resonates with me so well is its themes about free will and how far is too far with technology. This film is more relevant today than it was in the 90s. With the introduction of things like virtual reality and the metaverse, and the idea of diving into a virtual world is no longer a concept of science fiction. This film shows you if you let escapism, or let's say a computer program that allows you to escape to another world, if you allow all that to replace society in and of itself, it shows you the dangers of that. and how it could literally destroy society in and of itself. Virtual worlds might be great, but they will never replace the real world. They will never replace the natural, real world. And the fact that this film was able to send a message like this over 20 years ago just shows you how ahead of its time this film was. Yes, some aspects might be a little dated, but the overall skeleton is so ahead of its time, I can't help but praise it. Because of this, The Matrix gets an S. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed my review of The Matrix. And if you did, make sure to give this video a like. And if you want more content like this, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell notification so you can be notified every time I upload a new video. And shout out to the Ruddles and Buddy the Elf. Thanks for watching.